how's it going? You're very welcome to episode 8 of the Harden Up Podcast with myself, Tom Mahony.
And myself, Owen Colgan. Can't believe it's 8 podcasts already, Tom. Time flies.
It's technically 9, Owen. Technically 9.
Wow, that's crazy. So we've been in lockdown pretty much for the whole time we've been doing these podcasts, I think. This is like a lockdown podcast.
Yeah, I mean, when we were in my car, one or the other.
Yeah. We were slowly getting squashed out of society when we were doing the podcast, and it's always been in tight quarters is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but I like that too. You know what I mean? You know what you're dealing with. Like, you know, pressure creates diamonds. Isn't that what they say?
It sure does, yeah. But I often wondered, did people, when they saw us in the car there in Phoenix Park, were they ever wondering, are these two lads out doing a bit of dogging? And on top of that, what's the story with dogging nowadays? Because is that like up on blocks for the moment? They're going to need a bit of funding. They're going to have to get the minister for fucking shagging to fucking throw a few quid their way.
Do you know, like there's some ballsy stuff has been put out there before, like, isn't there? You know, like you'll hear stuff going, you're some fucking neck on you asking for a grant for that, like. Do you know, sure, look at the, you know, we're going to need a pitch for chihuahuas to play on, and specifically chihuahuas. But like, if you're putting in money for, putting in a grant bid for dogging.
Yeah. Well, they've no money for fuel now or indicating. So the batteries are dead in the car. They need some sort of injection from some. The thing is, Tom, they need, not that they need it, sorry, but like you hear like the government's giving away all this money now. I think in about 5 or 10 years' time, I know I said this to you before, but 5 or 10 years' time, the government are going to be like, right, lads, we want that money back. And then they're going to squeeze everything out of us.
Do you think so?
I think so, because it's almost too good to be true in the way that the banks and other people are like, oh, no, don't worry about the mortgages, or here's an extra $350. And it is all good and well, and it is the taxpayers' money. But you never know those cute bastards at the top there, what they're planning. Listen,
everything they say, like when it comes to these kind of things, you know full well, as you just said it, they're going to go, sorry. Yeah.
Just your bank machine, you've got the card in, they're like, yeah, give us that money there, will you? 5 years from now when you're trying to enjoy yourself.
And they can do it at any point, and they just dress it up their own way, like whatever way they want. They can just dress it up and go, well, it's new trousers tax. We're very sorry.
But that's the thing, Tom, with taxes, when you really do think about taxes, I understand, you know, you need to do the roads and you need to have the good infrastructure and all the other stuff that goes with it. But when you think about like taxes for certain things, it's just, you've got to pay I think you've got to pay a dog tax now, don't you?
Yeah.
TV tax. It's just like, why don't you have a spider tax then in the gaff, you know, for all the spiders that you have in your bath? A daddy long legs tax or something, like, because it's just a made up thing. So maybe, why don't you just make it up about something else?
Well, we're not too bad. The UK, though, they're happy to have a saddle putting them for every sort of a silly tax. They have a bedroom tax. If there's so they count the bedrooms in the house. And they go, well, that's how we're going to calculate your house tax now. And their house tax is through the fucking roof. Like Conor Drum, he's a comedian. He's renting in London, a house share, like. And he was saying one of the days, just out of the blue, a bill came through the door from the landlord for £600 a head. You know, out of the blue, like. And that's not your rent. That's nothing. That's just, he went, grand buys. I remember herself's brother was paying $2,400 a month or $2,400 a year for house tax, just for your house to sit there. And you pay tax on every other fucking thing. You pay tax on the paint that you put on the fucking house when you buy it. But you got to pay tax just for that. And they've had water tax for years. They're happy to have fucking.
That's the way it seems to be going. Even with the renting thing, it's very hard to like get onto the old property ladder in Ireland. It seems like the government want to tax everything. I know this is like a generic thing to say, but it seems in Ireland they're going the way that everything is like, you don't really own anything. You're always at the beck and call of the government. Even we can't grow our own veg. We should be learning how to grow our own veg and stuff like that, just so we take the power back away from the dodgy lads at the top of the triangle.
Now you see, they saw what happens. You see, in Europe, like the likes of Holland and stuff, nobody owns their fucking house. Like the government owns everything. You know what I mean? And landlords own everything. And it's much, much handier to and control people, like if they don't own their own property. But Irish people are wild. We want to own our own bit of land. We're the only crowd that want to own our own fucking bit. Loads are just happy out to be forever renting. But there's no the big lads at the top, as you said, There's no controlling fellas if they own their own. See, like I'm mad for going off grid altogether, throwing up the fucking windmill or a fucking stream turbine or something. But you can't. You can't legally go off grid. Would you believe?
Bollocks, isn't it? I don't know why they won't let you legally go off grid. What's the reason behind that?
They've no control over a fella. Sure, Jesus Christ, that set precedence. Every cunt on the road would have their windmill up.
I think I could be wrong, but an uncle of mine told me that you can't even collect the rainwater now to use it again. You know, like the way the owl lads that have like those big barrels at the corner of the house and they'd be collecting rainwater and he'd be like, I'm going to use it now to scrub a couple of sheep. Or he'd have some random reason to be using this water, like he'd be dipping himself in it just to wash every Friday or whatever. But now apparently you're not even allowed to collect the rainwater at the side of the house.
Jesus Christ almighty. They own the rain now.
They own the fucking rain now. Bastards.
Jesus
what can you do?
Christ. I suppose there's bits and pieces that go well in. Like in the UK, apparently they're getting £100 a week. That's what they're getting. £100 a week. I've heard. I could be wrong, but apparently it's £100 a week they'll get, not the £350.
Straight up £100 a week.
That's it. You know, so I suppose there's for and against it, you know, in being taxed certain ways. Like every government is a pack of cunts, really. But our pack of cunts aren't the worst pack of cunts. I'm not saying they're good cunts. They're just not the worst pack of cunts out there, like.
It's what level of cunt do you want to have running your country? Because they're all working on the cunt system.
Well, but, as you said it in your own word there. What level of cunts do you want running your country? You don't think that word happened by accident to you? They just stuck it over in there just to dress it up. I'm just saying.
Do you reckon like that the boys that get into government are dodgy going in, or do you reckon that because of how corrupt the whole setup is, they turn dodgy when they get in there? Because if you were going into politics and you're like, okay, I want to fix my different things in my own county and I want to make the country, I don't know, more, maybe you want to work in green energy a bit, but then you get in there and some lad's on chatting to you on a golf course and he's like, there's 20 grand now. We're just going to keep burning a bit of coal around here. So make sure you don't say anything about that. Would you take the 20 grand and head home, or would you cause a fuss on the golf course?
Well, I'll give an example, right, of perfect, I suppose, governmental kind of style jobs. In a fella that I know, he was a graphic designer for RT, or he got redundancy. He took it early when it was going because he just couldn't hang out. This fella's a workaholic. He wants to work at 100 miles an hour all the time. But basically, when he was in there, what happened was he got pulled aside and said, whoa, fucking whoa. You slow yourself down there, horsey box. I'll be making the rest of us look bad. Now, he stuck with that program for about 7 years. He went, all right, okay, fair enough, grand. And he stuck with it. But after a while, it cracked in his head and he had to leave. So I think the idea is that he went in there with great intentions, but inside a month, if he wanted to keep his job, you fall in fucking line. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you may go in there with the best of notions. I'm going to fucking make sheep fucking free roaming around the country. Everybody's going to get a free house. Everybody's fucking getting free cars.
Free sheep for every house.
I'd take them. If they were going, I'd take them. But I think the level then is that a hand is put on your shoulder and said, nah. You're not fucking doing that.
You're not coming in here rocking the fucking boat while we have it handy for the last how many 100 years, you know? So that's the trick. But I do think that getting off the grid is the way to go. I think that's the key. Because you can, when you think about it, you can, if you've got a small patch of land, you can definitely grow enough of your own veg and stuff like that. And then if you've got a cow in the back there, a couple of chickens, really, like, you wouldn't take an awful lot to live on.
Here, I have a book there that was written back in the 70s, and I got a rebound and all because it's been passed around the family just for notion. Like, I'm growing spuds as a result of this book. I'm able to read. You know, your man just tells you this is exactly what you fucking do, but the illustrations are brilliant in it. But he said with an acre, you can support a family of 4 off grid. Off grid.
Yeah. Easily. I would say easily, because an acre, there's a lot of space there for growing shit. When you do start growing your own stuff, that brings its own problems. The other day I was growing cucumbers and I was reading about them and it was like, leave them outside if you get a chance and like in a bit of sun. So I left them out in a bit of sun, and who came along and knocked the basket down by the bloody crows?
Fucking bastards. Do it. This is what you get.
And it felt personal, Tom.
This is what you get for all those Instagram posts and all those YouTube videos and all those fucking Facebook videos you make about them bastard crows and how much of a war you're at. They bided their time for you, Colgan, and they waited.
They waited till I was inside until this lockdown was happening. Then because he knocked the basket, this fella, and he stood then on the fence looking in the kitchen window at me, and He just gave me this look into my eyes, and I thought to myself, you cheeky fucking pup.
Yeah.
Cucumbers all over the floor. Seeds, just seeds. They were there. I had them in the basket for 2 days. I had them sprayed with water and nettle juice and everything like this, and a bit of seaweed on the bottom, and then cleaning the dishes. I looked out the window, and there was my basket just getting a bit of sun. I thought to myself, it's brilliant. 2 minutes later, I looked up again, and it was just all on the back floor.
Well, there you have it. They're bad bastards. Like what we have here, we have a big problem with the squirrels here.
Yeah.
They're worse than any crow because they've got hands. Them little nasty bastards. They have wrecked everything around the fucking house. I'm telling you, I'm at war with them cunts. Little grey squirrels, because the orange fellas are bet out of it. Little fucking indigenous orange fellas are gone. The ginger lads. These grey fucking crows, I put up a bird box, pulled it apart, they did. Busted down onto the ground then, made clean shit of it. I bought one of those tubular things that the little birdies can hang off of. They bit it open. They bit the fucking thing open and then fucked it down on the ground. Anything I've ever hung up or put up around the place, the squirrels come in and absolutely destroy it.
What kind of squirrels are they?
Grey, dirty bastard and grey squirrels.
They did the ginger squirrels out of it. They got rid of them, didn't they? But they're coming back now again, I think, the ginger squirrels, are they?
I've seen one lad there. See, the problem was they were too small. Apparently, the ginger squirrels versus the grey lads, they were too small. They couldn't compete. It would seem anyway that the grey squirrels have boxed the poor old red squirrels out of it because the red squirrels were too small. Now, here's the thing. I did see a red squirrel the other day down the end of the road. And I don't know what sort of Joe Rogan fucking stuff this lad is on. He's on the HGH, this cunt. He had a pair of legs.
Beefy.
He had a pair of legs on him like a fucking dog. He was as big.
He's squatting.
Oh, that big thick arse. You know, you get that big thick arse from all the squat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean... I was trying to hold it together. And then I got an image of a squirrel with a big, thick fucking donkey arse on him.
Me too, with a big chunky arse. And then I was thinking to myself, do I fancy animals? Because I was like, if that's a female squirrel, that would be pretty fucking cute now. No, I don't. We don't fancy animals. Let's be clear on that one.
I don't know if you speak for both of us there, Owen.
Fair enough. Each their own. Listen, it all counts. Whatever that means, I don't know. Just take on these glasses so I can see what's going on.
Oh, now you look sharper. Look at this, man. Jesus, you're going to teach me something.
Christ. Look, I have my pages here. I need to be able to see them.
Well, I was speaking with a mate of yours, just getting onto governmental things and all the rest and how things are different. I was speaking with a mate of yours on a podcast. He jumped in a communal podcast we were doing last Sunday. Martin Mahony, a.k.a. Eddie the Dirk.
Yes, a.k.a. Eddie Durkin, a.k.a. Seamus the Wrestler, a.k.a. a lunatic that lands into Dublin from Sweden. And it's like a tornado landing over from Stockholm, and it lands into Dublin, and it's crazy. And then you meet up with him. You end up having a load of cans in some random gaff somewhere it's all sweaty, and then you go on the piss with him. But yeah, with Seth and Martin, we've got all crack. But he's over in Sweden, and he reckons that the lockdown, there was no lockdown at all there.
No, here he was. We were talking about drinking and all the rest of it. And out of nowhere, he jumps in and goes, "How are the boys?" And there he is on his phone. And I went, "Is that a pub?" He goes, "Fucking right, it's a pub." And he's inside the pub sucking pints. Now, I will say, right, first I asked him, the beer looked fucking rank that he was drinking. But anyway, I was still highly jealous. I was just trying to insult his situation just to make myself feel better more than anything. But he was saying that there was markings on the floor, which he showed us on the phone, for the 2 meters. Essentially, he was saying that there's table service and they've closed fuck all down and it's going grand. And I said, "Is it going grand though? Tell the truth." Because it seems to be going grand. We just bit of spatial awareness and all the rest of it. And I went, and Gordo was there from those conspiracy guys. He was on the other side and he was doing the Jamie, pull that shit up, Jamie, right? So he was on it. He wasn't buying what Maloney was selling. Because he was going, I don't know, because he was like, "Sweden's class, lads. It's pure class," you know. And I went, "Is it class?" Because I'd say there's a fair shot of you fucking dead. Next thing Gordo pulls it up. He goes, "We've the same amount of infections, Ireland and Sweden, roughly the same amount of people infected. They have double the deaths in Sweden."
Jeez, right.
Yeah.
You'd think the Swedes, being the smart bastards that they are, like, you think that they would have done things differently, because they seem like the kind of country that'd be always on the ball. But I don't know, maybe because they don't even like being around each other anyways, it seems. Never mind during the quarantine. So you would have thought that this would have been easier for them, because they don't socialise in the pubs as much as we do. It's not as big as a deal. Like, so I don't like, they're kind of colder people, you know?
Yeah, I suppose, as you said, maybe they've got their eye on the ball and they're going in a harsh way. They're trying to kill off half the population or something. I don't know. They're trying to free up some fucking space because there's no other reason behind it when everybody else has this lockdown thing going on. Pubs are closed everywhere. They don't, as you said, they don't even regard the pub that important. The pub didn't seem like any crack that he was in. It was just that he was in a pub, you know what I mean? But they had nearly doubled the deaths that we had.
They don't want to start locking doors.
Well,
were you ever over in Stockholm?
I've never been to Scandinavia full stop, and it's the offer has come a few times to go and do stand-up over there because they've all great English and they have whatever nights, and it just never lined up. I was to do a tour of Scandinavia. Like, I've done a couple of tours of kind of parts of Belgium and parts of Holland and stuff like that, and I've done Germany, but never done Scandinavia. I do want to go there, but I'm kind of a bit apprehensive of how good looking. Are they really that good looking? Are they? They are very good looking, because you go over there and you just think to yourself, Christ, they're fucking unbelievable. They're all 10 out of 10s. If you're 9 out of 10, even the 9 out of 10s are unreal. The long blonde hair, blue eyes, just well built, you know. Except for the boys, we went to a sex party over there one time. And everyone in there was beautiful. Even the old ones were lovely. Just us four Mayo lads, fucking big old Mayo heads in us that look like potatoes and drinking cans of cider. So they're beautiful people. I imagine every one of you are in under 18 to / under 16 GA shorts, you know.
Just walking around a sex party. I wonder, has anyone ever walked around a sex party in a pair of GA shorts from Tipperary or somewhere?
Oh, here, for sure they have. Like, tip cunts wear their colours everywhere. Like, I know fellas that would have gotten married in the tip jersey if they thought they could get away with it. Like, I guarantee you, some big-headed fucking turn-up mulliker from fucking Nina has been in a sex party, has ended up in like a Taiwanese sex party, and he's wandering around the place in a pair of Pat Fox's finest from 1986.
Well, believe it too, yeah. Or same with the Mayo jersey, you always see it popping up. There was one time Mayo, they were over playing in New York, and all Mayo, it seemed, were in Times Square, and they had the jerseys on them, and they were singing, the green and red of Mayo. And it was the funniest thing ever to see, because it was just wedged full of Mayo people in New York. Because when you go to New York, you always think the movies, you know, and you think of all this crazy stuff, and you think you might bump into George Clooney or fucking Johnny Depp or someone. And it was class to see all the Mayo lads just crammed in there singing the green and red of Mayo, because there was a lot of tourists and people like that walking past, and they're kind of like giving these confused looks. Who are these fucking lads with the jerseys on them? Very funny.
It's funny how we do travel. Like, you see the fucking headbangers that all go to the McGregor fights and all the rest of it. Just take over a place. Fuck you. Italian 90 all over again. Like, that
was something else. I would love to have gone to Italian 90. That was I was going to say, was that in America? I nearly fucking dropped the ball there, pardon the pun. Italian 90.
That bit there might just be the little excerpt that I like to throw up on Instagram.
Oh, you're not going to do me like that, you can't.
No, I won't. It'll be squirrel related.
No, fire away. I'm only joking. Honestly, fire away, Tom. No worries at all. But Italian 90, that was the Packie Bonner era. Yeah, that's right. That was unreal.
It was. Apparently, Tony Cascarino actually wasn't qualified to play for Ireland at all. He had no
papers.
No papers at all.
But you're half the people working in Ireland at the time had no papers for doing any kind of work, and they were just, you know, my father was given his driving license.
Was he?
Some lad goes, yeah, he goes, there you go now. Well, actually, probably don't put that in record, but he's a great driver. But, you know, back in the day, Tom, like, they'd give, even my grandfather, like, you just give you a license. Like, there you go now, head out there on the road. People, I don't know, maybe there was less crashes or whatever. I
had a funny feeling my old lad was given the license too. I could be wrong. I think he was. I know herself's father definitely was. They sent it to him in the post. He just went, great, I'm driving now. It's all good. Sure, he learned on the fly. When the grand one, you wouldn't see a car for fucking 2 hours on the road. Sure, driving to Dublin.
I don't think he ever had a crash, anyways. But sorry, go back to your story, Tom. Originally, you were saying about the Swedes. Yeah, that they don't have any kind of lockdown procedure going on.
No, it would seem to have not. I looked into it a small bit. They don't seem to have anything. Now, the Lithuanians seem to have cleaned up the things some which way. It's something that have gone very good.
How do you mean?
They've done it whatever which way they've done it. People were very disciplined. But you see, they come up from a communist background originally. You know, I'm not saying that they're still communists. They're not. But coming from behind the Iron Curtain, only say in the 80s, them boys, when they're told to fucking do something, as I would imagine they all row in behind it. You know, I'm not saying I'm a communist or I think it's a good idea, but at the same time, if you can all pull together, I'm not saying you all have to start wearing grey uniforms and driving ladders and fucking walking in straight lines, but at the same time, they've gotten their shit together. Apparently, Lithuania's on track. And
it seems like, I could be wrong, but it seems like the likes of Lithuania and Estonia and those places, they have a lot of unity in the people over there. There seem to be do you know what I mean? Like unity in that, like if something happens within the country, they go full lockdown. Whereas in other spots, it's kind of like, especially like in places like America, it's almost like half the people are like, fuck this, we're going to go to the beaches. And then the other half are like, no, you better stay inside or you're going to have blood in your hands. And it's like, maybe somewhere like Lithuania, the people all come together, as opposed to America, it's more diverse.
I suppose, but that in itself then goes back exactly to that, doesn't it? That the old Iron Curtain back in the day, when they fucking told you to do something, you all got it done fairly quick, like, you know. You weren't going, I think I'll do something different, because if you did something different, fucking Pravishla, you got fucked through a window, you know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I wonder what it was like. I wonder what it must have been like back in the day to be over in those countries.
I was friendly enough with a Polish lad, and he was telling me that it was fucking tough. He said that's why lads went wild when they came to places like Ireland. You know, with their wearing, you know, stonewashed jeans and fucking Affliction t-shirts and getting all jacked and stuff, and having to get a 7 Series Beamer straight away, like, you know, because it was all about big men. I must show big man money. I am big man. I'm rich. And, you know, it was just, they were frantically trying to cast off the old days, like, and try to be their own boss and their own whatever, you know. So that was a big thing. But he says, man, it was just fucking wild. Because he was telling me about, you know, Polish fellas will always be telling you, he was laughing. He's a bit of a culture himself, this lad. He's from a village in the middle of nowhere, like, and all he was into was tractors and fucking 4x4s. But he was going, he still spoke with a Polish accent, but he cursed like an Irish fella. So he'd say things like, yes, well, don't mind them pack of bollocks. And he was trying to describe when I used to do that job with the Ferraris and stuff, where I used to bring people out with Ferraris. He used to describe, you get many Polish people. I don't think he fully even fucking liked Polish people himself, like, but I saw you had to be a shot at the boys, all right, because I bet they all tell you they fucking good driver, eh? I went, oh yeah, it's the fucking bullshit, all them cunts. Well, already bottle of shit, right? I was like, what? He goes, there were fucking no roads to London. There was fucking no roads to London when we were young. But he was saying, with inflation could happen on a Friday, Monday morning you go down the shop by, and a packet of fags that might have been only the equivalent of maybe 25 cents on the Friday, they could be 25 fucking euro on the Monday.
Fuck me. That's ridiculous. Yeah, it's the same kind of crack in Venezuela too. Apparently you could pay like 12 or 13 quid for a pint of milk. Even more now, maybe.
Poor old Venezuelans in an awful spot at the minute, aren't they?
Ooh, they're going on. I mean, I don't know what the fuck that they're going to be doing during a bloody lockdown as well. I don't know how they're going to get through that. But the Poles are great old crack. I lived with a few of them there before in Galway. I lived with about 6. I went over to Poland with them once or twice. And the country, Poland itself, is just a fucking wild out spot. A lot of hard men knocking around the place. A lot of dudes where you're like, that guy's very fucking big. You know, a lot of muscle dudes cruising around, and you're like, I could get in a fight so easily here. It seemed to be like that. You know, that's the feeling I get. Like the Poles, obviously, they're not just all throwing jabs in Poland and shadowboxing, but there's a lot of hard dudes over there. I was on a bus once before, and I went to look for a secondhand shop there, and actually it was I think it was Lithuania. It was Vilnius. I was getting like a bus to some secondhand shop. It was a huge secondhand shop, but it's like online. It was like, this place has got loads of class clothes. So I thought, it wouldn't be funny if I got a couple of nice tops, make me look half Polish or half Lithuanian. But then anyways, on the way into town, I got lost. So I hopped onto a bus, and I was like, fuck, I don't know where I'm going now. And the bus was wedged. And I said to some lad beside me, it's like, excuse me, do you know where the city centre? And as I was asking where the city centre is, he just goes, no. And that was it. That's all he gave me. He goes, no. I was like, he didn't even know what I was fucking asking you. I was thinking, but anyways, I ended up going about 5 miles the wrong way. I had to walk through the back streets of Lithuania just to find the fucking city centre with a bag full of shite on my head. T-shirts that didn't even fit me, Tom. I just said, power.
Yeah, it's all that, like, isn't it? I am strong, man. I am many times. And even the lads with the belly, like, you know, that they've let themselves go since they come over here. Because I see two of them down Little the other day, strolling across in front of traffic. You know, the Adidas tops on, the Adidas fucking pure schlev, these lads. And they were walking across through, like, the zebra crossing was like 2 meters away. But the lads wouldn't use it by. They were walking through cars, making everybody, and walking as slow. And you're like, lads, the big fat bellies on you. You haven't been in the gym in fucking 10 years. Where are you going? But still with the shoulders out, like, in the arms. I'm strong, man. Jaw out, you know.
Yeah, I think that was probably part of the culture going up there, because you probably had to be a real tough dude. Because I think up till recently you had to join the army for a year if you were born in Poland.
Yeah.
You had to do like a year's service, didn't you?
That's a thing that's in a lot of countries.
So
I didn't
not a bad idea.
I like the idea of that. They do it. You have to do it in South Africa.
Yeah, I like it. I kind of wish that they had it in Ireland, maybe, just for everyone, really. Harden us up a small bit.
Plus, to give you to give you a year to think about what the fuck you're going to be at, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe that's what they should do with the lads doing the leaving cert. They just go fuck into the army there for a year, sure. And have an hour think about the leaving cert, and sure, look at if you want to go away and get a trade.
Imagine they just sent the boys who were doing the leaving cert into the Irish army, going, "Out of the front line there, lads, John. Give it a go there. Never mind the maths and the English and all the geography shite. Just get into the old fucking war. I don't know. Send them out to war somewhere on a war zone front line. Then we'll see if they want to do the leaving cert." What's the story with the leaving cert, Tom? Are they going to call it off altogether, or is it postponed?
Here's the fucked up thing. A mate of mine, he's a teacher, and I was talking to him the other day, stressed out of his head, like, because it's looking like they're going to have to do the judge him. Basically, just, you'll get a fucking list of your names there and go, fuck. Yeah, he wasn't bad, I suppose, down through the year. Era, B plus, you know. That's the way it's gone, apparently. So it's not corrections or nothing. So you're just going to have to judge it. Emma Doran did a great sketch. The comedian Emma Doran, she did a great short sketch. It's up on her Instagram. And it's basically her as a teacher marking. It's like,
right.
Her mother's a fucking bitch. Fuck it. Oh, Jesus, now, his father, right. Fucking A for that lad. Good lad yourself, you know. And she was like, how they're going to judge it. Like, sure,
That seems dodgy. That seems very dodgy, because there's going to be a couple of brown envelopes floating around. If you have a teacher and you meet him and he's walking past the house, we'll say, or lives in your village. You're like, how are you doing? Jesus, how's the son getting on school? He wasn't great. Oh, here's 100 quid. He, in fairness to him, though, he's got great potential, you know, and then you end up getting 600 points in the leaving.
It's a very dodgy one, all right. I think they should offer him the resit, I think, at least. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's a dodgy one, like, isn't it? Do
you know what, Tom? You know the time the results come out and you get that bloody dirty little green luminous sort of sheet with the numbers and the grades on it. At the time I got mine, I was driving a dump truck on a railway line between Castlebar and Westport, listening to J-Lo's latest song, and I had the cab locked into reverse gear, and I was sitting. It was a huge dump truck, so I got to stand outside it while I was going up and down this railway line, a good 5 kilometre stretch of railway line, and it was a lovely sunny day. And my mother called me up and she says to me, "I've got your results here," and I was like, "All right." She goes, "Do you want me to tell you them?" And I was like, "Nah." And then that was it. And I barely ever looked at them. I looked at them about 3 months later, and I was like, "Jesus Christ, I did shite."
I wasn't much beyond you now, to be fair. I was working in a pig farm at the time. And
right.
I was fucking horsing out fucking piglets, and the mother rang. She said, "Do you want to spin into town to pick up your results, or do you want to wait for it to come out?" And I said, "Jesus Christ, I'll lose a day's pay if I go into fucking town. I'll have to wash myself and everything." Fuck that. Which is, I mean, it was weird for the teachers, because my 2 sisters were such ridiculous academics. They went on to be like professors and stuff like that. But it wasn't for me, Owen. It wasn't for me. And to be fair, the results, you know, they warranted taking their time. They didn't need to be. But even at that, I think.
Did you know when you finished school that you wanted to do stand-up comedy?
No. I managed to get in and do. I got in and I did civil engineering, like. And
you're saying that, yeah.
It made more sense to me when I got into college, because there were lads who actually, there was no talking shite. These felt like people that were good at what they did. You know what I mean? Like some of the teachers I had, I was looking at and going, "Would you go away to the fuck? You don't know what you're talking about. You're bluffing your way through this." And maybe I was too cute for my own good in that sense, like, but I was looking at these lads going, "Would you go away to..." It's 1 or 2. We'd one teacher, you would have fucking loved him. He was pure douche. This fellow would.
Pure tush. I love it.
This fella would knock
that
you
says
out,
so
man.
much.
This
Yeah.
fella would knock you out. He was our metalwork teacher, right? And he'd walk around the place fucking like that. He'd a belly, but he was a big strong fucker. Like he'd, big arms on him and stuff like that. And he used to do strength, like we'd be in the middle of fucking making something. And the next thing go, guys, get around. We're going to have a competition. So there was fully kitted out metal workshop. And there was a mechanical hacksaw that you'd put, if you want a nice clean cut of maybe a 2-inch solid bar of metal, you'd put it into it and you'd leave it for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, maybe cutting away nice and neat. He'd ask who wants to have a go against the fucking machine. Who wants to see can they beat the machine?
Right.
Nobody ever did. Nobody ever fucking did. But like, there was all that shit. Who could lift the anvil over their head? It was all strongman shit.
Macho. Yeah.
Macho strongman shit. And but I loved it. I fucking loved it. And even with the theory that came with it, all the metal stuff all made sense to me. I A+ that. That was the only thing that dragged my fucking sorry arse of a leaving cert through to get any kind of fucking half decent result.
Do you ever see those teachers now when you're knocking around the town?
No, a few of them follow me on Twitter, which makes it weird. Like, you know what I mean?
That's very strange. Yeah, that's very strange.
Yeah. And they're pally, that kind of way. Hey, man, what's the crack? And you're like,
yeah.
And there wasn't a mad difference in our age profile, maybe 7 or 8 years, like, or whatever. But at the same time, you're kind of going, man, you're an oddball back then, I guess, and you're a fucking oddball still. You're grand. Yeah. I remember running into a gang of them in the pub one time. There was, they were all the youngish teachers, maybe late 20s or whatever. But they were all giggling like little children in the corner. And we were supping pints like men. At that stage, you're like, well, or whatever. But they were all giggling and going, oh, hi, guys, how's it going? And these were men and women teachers. And you're like, oh, I get it. You see, what happens a lot of these people, and it happens a lot of teachers, nurses, guards and stuff, you go straight from school into another type of school and you're treated like children, school children. It happens with the guards, it happens with nurses, and it happens with teachers. You're spoken to like a child, because you're like, no, be in bed by 10:30. You have to be, whereas in college or whatever, or working, you go off and you grow up and you become a man or a woman immediately. So these were still all giggly school children themselves. And I was going, you're wrong. Only my woodwork teacher as well, he was a bit of a hard cunt, but he might fuck off. The same fella, like he might pack in the job, take a sabbatical for 6 months and go make a fortune in America on the buildings that way too, So we got him through most of our school day. So he was kind of looking at us going, huh?
Yeah.
Grow up to fuck, will you?
Yeah.
And same with the metalwork lad. He was like, he used to steal my fags. He used to come over and go, throw us out a fag there, will you? But he had a big job on the go. He had a pub and he had an aluminium, a PVC doors and windows company on the go, you see, on the side.
Cute cunt. Fuck, yeah. Them boys are cute, The lads that were doing sort of the trades in school, like the woodwork and the tech graphics and all the other stuff, they were cute fuckers because, as you said, they had their own businesses going on behind school doors. Well, not behind school doors, but like after school hours.
Yeah, oh yeah, they all them lads, they all had a gig on the go that was probably paying more than the teaching. Like they all, definitely your man that had the pub and the metalwork teacher, he definitely was making a fortune in the pub. And even a handful of us, he used to, if there was a job, he needed me to make a piece for a machine. He went, listen, I don't want to be ordering this yoke in. It's coming in from fucking Russia. Here's the fucking measurements. Make it up there, like, goodbye. I was like, I'm supposed to be doing a project. He goes, am I the fucking project? He says, for fuck's sake. Throw me out of fag. Like, this is... That was his attitude, like. And I kind of loved it. But then you see, when we were in sixth year then, a handful of us, maybe there was 4 of us in the class, that he would serve us pints in the pub then. And he'd go, out the back, boys, and out into the smoking area, like, or whatever.
There was a fella down the road from us, Tom, and he owned a pub. I won't give his name because, he served many an underage pint over the years, but we used to go in there during the daytime, and like about 12 of us would walk straight in there, and he'd go, tea, and he'd give us out like 12 cups of tea. And then at around like 6 o'clock in the day, he'd go, pints? And then he'd just drop us down 6 or 12 pints, whatever. But the school days were great crack because you get so many fucking teachers. We used to have this one teacher. He was only a small lad. He was about, I'd say he was could be considered a dwarf. He was about 5 foot, but he was a barrel of a man, and he was from Charlestown. And he'd come in, and if he didn't have the homework done, he'd start grabbing the legs of the table, and he'd just start spinning them, and he'd keep going to the class. Am I mental? Am I mental? and he'd just be fucking swinging the classes. And he did this thing where he'd put his hand inside his shirt and just start rubbing his chest as if to say he's kind of losing the canopy. He'd be like, am I mental? Am I mental? And he'd go like this thing with his hand, look down at the class, go, am I mental? Because he'd be so vexed that people didn't have the homework done. And we never did the homework. Never. Because it'd be all, what he'd do is he'd write a load of shite up on the blackboard, a load of stuff in Irish. I'd be like, right, take that down now. And we don't even know what the fuck we're writing. I couldn't even see the board. I was that blind. So I could just make it upwards.
I didn't even mean to go down the route of schooling, but it is good crack to talk about them fucking mental days. I suppose we better get on to one or two of our subjects. The big thing at the minute is the big TV show. And I wonder about some of these TV shows, like the likes of Tiger King and all the rest. Would they have seen the fucking light of day if we weren't all in lockdown? But this new Irish one seems to be exploding all over the place. One of the fucking Kardashians is talking about it. It's called Normal People. I've only seen clips of it, and I have a bit of a pain in my hole looking at it. Like, you've investigated a bit further?
I watched a bit of it, yeah, and I thought to myself, I was talking to a mate of mine, and you yourself mentioned to watch it too, and I watched it, and it's a bit, I don't know, it's a small bit up its own arse, I think.
In what ways?
Bit, yeah.
Are they art students or something, or what's going on?
It's kind of just a small bit posy, I thought. Just now, this is only the bit I've seen, so I need to probably rewatch it. But it's kind of like, look at us, look at the life we're living, you know, sweet kind of vibes, you know, that kind of, it's like a slightly hipstery maybe.
Is it based in Dublin, is it?
Yeah.
This is the thing, and a lot of the media.
Well, small towns, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the media around it is saying, oh my God. And it sounds to me like a bit of a fucking Dawson's Creek kind of a rehash, like, you know, yeah. You know, it's talking about sweethearts and fucking, I don't want to wait for my life to be over. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit, go away and fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like, there was, to try and jazz it up, and I always get suspicious of a TV show that has to throw a bit of riding into it. So that was the big thing during the week, was that they were going to make Irish TV history, and they were going to have riding. There was going to be bare holes, Nickies and fannies out all over the fucking place. I'm like, what's the fucking, like, if you have to throw that in, that's needed. Like, if somebody, think about, like, we've written scripts, right? If you're writing a script and you get to that bit and you're like, bitter riding, move on 2 pages. You're like, you cute cunt. You cute cunt. You've wrote nothing. You've wrote nothing at all on it.
Yeah.
Leave it up to the director to tell him how to ride. Grand job. Move on 2 pages.
And as well as that, Tom, on top of that, people, it's funny how people get obsessed about, like, when they hear there's going to be riding in a show, because really, like, if that's a big deal, if that's a reason for you to watch, then just stick on a bit of porn.
This has been my argument for.
It's there for
years.
you, like.
I used to do a bit on 2FM on Monday mornings, and it would be basically me giving out about something. A natural order of things, like. And this whole thing was about this TV show called the Night Manager or whatever, and it was flat out riding throughout the whole thing. And they were saying, is there too much riding on telly? And I came in and went, yeah, there is. Because if I want to watch riding, there's porn. You know what I mean? If that's your thing.
Yeah.
Like, where are you getting excited by a bare arse or an old flute? Flash of a flute or a flash of a fucking box? Like, who gives a shit? I
spent too many evenings watching Channel 4 at 3 o'clock in the morning looking for a bit of action, that if I want to watch that kind of stuff, I'll watch the pornography. But when it comes to television, I want to see people having the crack or doing something, some sort of story. But even with the Game of Thrones, when they were shagging, it was like, yeah, I could watch something that's even more graphic. And I did.
Well, fair play to you. That's it, yeah. For me, I know they were trying to do, at least with Game of Thrones, you can say, okay, well, they were being extreme every which way. They had people being stabbed in the eye, they'd fucking burnt alive, and now they're going to have a bit of riding because it's extreme every situation. But some fucking flouncy fucking yoke that's set in, I don't know where, but somewhere in Ireland, there's going to be riding. Who gives a fuck? Mm-hmm. Move on.
Yeah, let them
move on.
Yeah.
So, for our lack of knowledge on Normal People, sounds like a load of shite.
Yeah. Well, if they do come to me or you and ask us to be in it, I'll happily be in it.
Amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
I will be deleting this and taking this podcast back out and cleaning it up. But for now, fuck them for not putting us in it, Owen.
Did you watch some of it?
I'd seen clips is all, and immediately I went, that's not for me. That's not for me. Mm-hmm. It's all a bit, heartbreaky and sweet 16, whatever age they are. It's all a bit angst and, oh my God, is life right? I don't give a fuck about people's relationships or relationship stories. If that's the crux of a story, like most of these reality TV things where they cut back and forth, you know, like the likes of the Kardashians and stuff, or the likes of Chelsea and fucking the only way. It's all based around the story of drama as a result of relationships. And I don't give a fuck about drama or relationships. So that show will never appeal to me. I'm not the man they're looking for. I'm not the man. Give me something that's funny, or, you know, there's, you know, people getting blown up or something. I'm a simple man on.
I think though that there's a huge market for those kind of shows. Like, what's that one called? Love is Blind. Is it the other one that's on? They're on a beach, and it's a load of sex people standing around. They're like, all right, you're a nice piece of stuff. And it's just like a load of sexy people. People just like to see kind of good-looking, sexy people having a bit of drama.
You're not wrong. It is a thing I think people are into. For me, I don't like, because there was Naked Attraction and stuff like that where they get to, you know, the screen goes up and they get to see their feet and they're like, oh, nice feet, yeah, well, what? Nice feet. And all of a sudden it gets up and your man, you know, as it, like there was one on at one time, and there was a fella, he had a prosthetic leg, but he had a cock like a fucking horse, like a Pringle tube. And your one was like, oh. And they were going, oh, so you like him? So by the time your man stood out and everything, and she was like, oh, I like him. I fucking like him. That joke, Jesus Christ, like a baby's fucking arm holding a plum. Like the size of the oak, like.
I heard people say baby, like a baby's arm holding an apple. So obviously this one had a small bell, this lad, did he?
I didn't.
A plum bell.
I didn't go for a full inspection myself, but he had a fair weapon on him, like. But they were going, and the prosthetic leg, it doesn't bother you at all. And she was like, what? Prosthetic? Oh, right, there's a prosthetic leg. She wasn't even paying attention to your man's fucking missing a leg. His flute was that fucking...
Right.
So again...
How come she... Oh, so this is completely naked and they're just showing the whole...
So the screen goes up. So they're standing inside a phone boxy thing, we'll say. And the screen goes up. See their ankles, lovely ankles.
Yeah.
You know, goes up, lovely knees. And then all of a sudden, Jesus Christ, the fucking rod on your man, like. And then up and up.
Right.
Horrendous, like absolute bottom feeder TV, like, you know what I mean? But people get excited by the idea of it. Personally, watching people doing another thing, you know, doesn't really interest me. You've created nothing, you cunt. You're not entertained. You didn't even try and entertain me. Write something down, you bollocks. Write something down and make an effort. Watch it. Like the biggest scandal of the whole lot is Gogglebox. Like you're watching people watching the telly. That is the most bizarre. Like, that's an insult to anybody that ever made a piece of TV. It really is, like.
It's the easiest piece of TV you'll ever make. It's just, all it is really is editing.
Bottom feeder. You just get a couple of people, and you know the camera's in the room. If they've got the camera on you, and if they wanted to come to my house, more power to them. Pay me to watch the fucking telly. But, like, I'm going to be fucking a lunatic. Do you know? I'll be the crazy racist fucking one if you want, like. But I will be playing a character to that camera. You know what I mean? Like, whatever they want. Yeah. You know, whatever they want.
Is it going to get to a point where, like, you have people, a TV show where people are watching the TV show, and then it's just a continuous loop of 24-hour television that's live streamed, and they never have to make content again. It's just me going, what's that lad up to? And he's looking at me going, what's that lad up to?
Isn't that social media?
Pretty much is, actually, yeah. Speaking of which, I've tried to cut down on that fucking social media the last couple of weeks because... As you like, kind of, you know the way like you'd go on there and you'd be looking at different profiles and then you'd be like, fuck, I need to. You kind of see people doing stuff. You either see people doing stuff or giving out about stuff. And when you see people doing stuff, you're like, geez, I should be doing stuff myself. So I've tried to cut down on the old social media there the last while. Yeah,
it's too much. Like I'm the very same. I've been leaving the phone away from me as much as I can. As much as I can, I'm leaving the phone away from me. Like, just fucking thing. Now, going forward, for anybody who wants to continuously listen to the Harden Up podcast, keep your phone near you or hit subscribe at least. It'll be there waiting for you when you come back to it. Speaking of TV, again, keep them going with it. UFC. Well, I bet you were excited, were you?
I was very excited because I wanted to see what the hell they were going to do, how they were going to have lads fighting in a cage with judges and different people knocking around the place without, you know, obviously with the 6 feet distance thing, but 2 meters. But they fought on an island. Dana White got an island. And they shipped out lads to the island, and they test them. They test them the week of the fight, a few weeks before the fight. Actually, one lad had the coronavirus, so they had to cancel his fight.
Oh.
So there was a bit of an issue. There was a bit of an issue there with that. They were saying that maybe like the people who he was around would have got the virus, but everyone was tested, and apparently nobody had it. But loads of people fought. Tony Ferguson fought on the card. Justin Gaethje fought. Francis Ngannou was fighting terrifying, as well. And
he's fucking terrifying, isn't he? That
terrifying animal of a man. Oh man, just a beast altogether.
It's some story as well,
Well,
hasn't he? Holy shit, he came out of the back of Beyonds in the fucking in Africa. How, like,
yeah.
I remember seeing a bit on him in this lad in Paris. He made his way to Paris. It took him like a year to get to Paris or whatever. And this fella said, yeah, this big, massive lad walked into the boxing gym. He was homeless, like. Oh, he's massive. And I was kind of going, how does a fella keep that? Like, just genetics are unbelievable, aren't they? Like, he walked in there probably starving hungry, probably hadn't eaten right in fucking ever, and yet he still was a tank. You know what I mean?
I think he didn't start training until he was, I think, maybe 18 or 19 in boxing. And look at him now, like, he's probably second best heavyweight and second toughest man in the world after Stipe Miocic, who's a firefighter and the toughest man in the world. And seems like a nice fella.
Is he Croatian or something at descent? They bring the flags, yeah.
He's Croatian, yeah. Stipe Miocic. But, he's a legend. He's like the champion at the moment. But he is the toughest man in the world. Did you hear Tyson's coming back, by the way?
I saw footage of him on Twitter the other day. Fucking hell, talk about not losing it. Oh my God, 50 odd years of age. And he would, if he started swinging inside in the pub, there wouldn't even be a fucking stool left in the place. He'd fuck everything out through the fucking...
Absolute animal, like, to the fucking age of him.
Oh.
He was saying before, I think it was on Joe Rogan's podcast, he was saying something like that. He didn't want to come back boxing because he felt like it'd open up his ego too much, and then he'd start sort of like be driven by the ego or whatever. But now he's saying things like the gods inside me have been reawakened, and he's coming back fighting. I don't know who he's going to fight though.
You know, he looked fucking fast. The problem is cardio, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's fine for a 20-second video online, like, or whatever, you know, and it edited right and everything else. But, you know, you put him in there with somebody like Anthony Joshua or something who can go to 12 rounds. At the same time, who the fuck wouldn't want to watch that? Mike Tyson back fighting again at 53 years of age.
I think actually, you know what? I think he's going fighting Evander Holyfield.
Yeah, he's still good nick.
He's in very good nick. I think he was still training like boxing, fighting till mid-40s, I think. Actually, there was some lad, and he played for Nigeria in one of the World Cups. It could have been Italia 90. And I remember looking at the team sheet, and this lad was on the team for Nigeria, and I was like, fuck me, he looks old. And it turned out he was about 48. He was playing for fucking Nigeria on the wing. Thought to myself, geez, you must be fit. He was shite. The ball came to him once and he completely missed it. And I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely showing his years now. I think he got subbed off at halftime, and even getting off the pitch, he was fucking wrecked.
Well, you know full well, like, he was in with the manager some which way, and he went, here, there's a brown envelope for there now, and I'll be going to the World Cup with you. Yeah, that okay? Yeah. Go on. So the main event was Tony and Justin Gaethje. Bit of a surprise.
Was a bit of a surprise because Tony Ferguson was meant to be fighting Khabib, but like that's been cancelled 5 times now. Khabib, I think he went into full lockdown, so Tony Ferguson, Dana White got him a fight, and he fought this lad called Justin Gaethje, who's a good wrestler, and I think Tony Ferguson was definitely meant to win that one, but he pretty much got hammered by your man. And the sound, without an audience, Tom, the sound of the gloves hit, it was like the sound you could hear every single time was just, it was beautiful.
It was, you know, I was listening to the commentary on it too, and even every time Joe Rogan was like, oh Jesus, because I'd say they're not used to, because you wouldn't hear the slaps being thrown like, and it made her so meaty, didn't it? It was like, when he met him on the fucking side of his head a few times, it was like, you know, fuck.
Oh, yeah. I went there once. I went to a UFC event before once in Dublin in the 3 Arena, and I remember I was sitting fairly close to the cage, and I thought to myself, I could hear that sound, and I was like, fucking hell, is this what it sounds like? Because you always expect, you know, like to hear Joe Rogan's voice, and that sort of softens the blow. But when you can hear that meaty punch, as you said, it's something else. Oh
Jesus, yeah. I went to one. It was a Bellator Bama event it was the one where McGregor came running in and jumped over the cage. Fucking pure lunatic.
Charlie Ward.
Yeah. And but I remember that there was a mate of mine fighting. I knew 2 lads that were fighting, Richard Kiley and Will Fleury. And
all right.
To see it ended quickly for Richard Kiley. He went in there with a fucked knee anyway, shouldn't have been fighting. Like, but then your man knew, he caught his knee straight away, gave him a twist. Job done. Good night. Thanks for the use of the hall. Good luck.
That Fury is a fucking big bastard. I only discovered him there the last few years, but he's a fair old unit of a man, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. And a tough cunt. Like, he played rugby for a long time. Like, he's got a scar down. He's got the coolest scar ever. He's got a scar that runs down his eye like that. And
nice.
It was a stud. It was a stud that caught him on the ground, like, and it looked fucking badass, you know what I mean? But he is all in. Like, we chat every so often there, like, but he's in isolation at the minute, but he's all the gear at the house, and he's training as hard as he fucking ever was, like.
Would he ever get to a point where he'll be fighting in the UFC in heavyweight?
Well, he's below heavyweight. He's just below heavyweight. He could get to heavyweight if he wanted, like, you know what I mean? Because he's 6'2" or 3", like, he's a big.
Oh, he's John Jones.
Yeah, it's his strength more than anything. He's fucking animalistic strength. Fucking pure animal. He's from up the road from me at home, like, that's how I know him so well.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But he has a determination in him like that. I think the crowds love him for that. They fucking love the fact that he's so driven and he's so into
dogged.
it.
Yeah.
Dogged. He's fucking dogged. But he'll do well in Bellator. Like, he's got a 6-fight deal with Bellator, so he'll do okay there, like, you know.
That's very decent, yeah, because Bellator obviously it's got a lot of good fighters on there as well.
It's number 2 to the UFC, and there must be 100 organizations around the world, like, you know what I mean? There's
one my brother sent me before. It's like it's some Polish organization, and basically it's just like 4 lads against 4 lads, and so they're all in the ring together, and they're just like, one of them gets knocked out, so then there's 2-on-1, and as soon as one of them gets knocked out, it's game over for the other boys, because when it's 2-on-1, you're fairly screwed. And then at the end, there was 4 Polish lads battering 1 Polish lad, and everyone's like, go on. And I just thought, fucking, that's Poland. That's Poland in a bottle there for you.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's the most Polish sounding thing I've ever heard. They all walk out in Adidas tracksuits, you know.
They're fucking, you know what though, I do like the Poles. They're soundskins, they're hard dudes, but they are a good crack. I remember one time I was drinking down Galway with one of them, and he was like, we bought some vodka and Red Bull, and he put a mouthful of Red Bull into his mouth, and then he took a mouthful of the vodka from a different bottle, and he was like, cocktail in mouth. And he drank the 2 of them, and 20 minutes later we were steamed, and I don't know what the fuck happened, but he was a great crack. I always enjoyed the time with the Poles. They're tough dudes too. I don't really know many of them that's in the UFC. There's one that's, I think, is going to be fighting John Jones next.
I suppose, you see, it's regardless, it's all about athletics. Toughness is one thing, like, but like, John Jones is an unbelievable athlete, like, and that's kind of where you get to when you get to the UFC. There's probably plenty, you know, like K1 and these ones are probably doing fine. Pancras and stuff are doing fine around the world, and lads are making plenty of money on the side. But, you know, toughness will get you through those ones, but toughness won't get you through the UFC. Like, look at Tony Ferguson the other night. Tough as fuck. His face looked like a fucking roast beef though by the time a man was done with him. Like,
yeah. I don't think him cutting weight 2 weeks ago was probably the best move for that though, because that probably drained him a lot. He couldn't wait for the Khabib fight, even though he knew it was going to be cancelled.
Clown, what the fuck was he at? No needing it at all. Go back on the fucking sandwiches. You know what I mean? Go back on the sandwiches, Tony. No need.
So he lost now, and it seems like McGregor was doing a bit of chatting, and I think he ended up fighting Tony Ferguson next, and then your man Justin Gaethje will fight Khabib, and then the winner of both fights, I'd say, will probably have a fight.
We do have a subject to get to that was dear to our hearts, and I had a story to tell you, but I'll tell you that next week. But I do want to tell you briefly, because you just make me laugh about the Polish accent. There was a guy, when I was doing that Ferrari driving thing, right? And the Polish fellas were always good crack when they show up. Now, you get 2 types. You get the fellas who are, hey, my way, what's the crack? Or you get the real straight lads. Fucking jacked looking fuckers, you know. Remember this one day, this fella shows up, and they were weird. Himself and the missus were weird, you know what I mean? And not foreign or weird. They were just being a bit cagey and kind of looking around, and rather than just, like, he was only doing, you know, a 40-minute drive or whatever, and she gave him a biggest snog, like he was off to war for fucking 5 years kind of thing. I went, oh, Jesus, right?
Polish passion, yeah.
Yeah, passion, you know, Slav style. So we're up the road, and your man's got his Affliction t-shirt on, big silver chain, the whole lot. He'd hardly said 2 words to me through the whole fucking drive. Most fellas would talk the legs off you about the car and about fucking everything. So we're up the road about 15 minutes. He says, you'll see this woman with me. I went, yeah, I do, yeah. She not wife. I went, okay, right, she is. And he's looking around the car. It's a 2-seater car, Owen. There's nobody in it, only us. He says, she is my lover. I went, okay, well, sure, you love her. That's great. No, you don't understand. I have wife. She is lover. I went, right, okay. And is there a reason why you're I have to tell somebody? Polish people don't talk about these things, but emotionally, I'm very, very I'm very sore in emotions. I went, your emotions are sore because I don't love my wife. And he went into this fucking 10, 20-minute story about how himself and the wife in Poland, if you're not married by 20 years of age, they think you homosexual or your penis is broke. Something wrong with you if you're not married. I was like, all right, okay. So I'm asking advice from Ferrari man. What do I do? I'm like, I don't know what to tell you to do, man.
So he hopped into the Ferrari and you were planning to go for a spin, and then you turned into a shrink.
I never in the 5 years of doing it did I ever have where the car wasn't the primary conversation piece. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You may talk a bit about it, GA, you may talk a bit about the weather or work or whatever, or having the crack, but the car was the primary focus of conversation. Nah, this fella would have been happy, I'd say, if we just drove out and parked up around the corner and had a fucking chat. He was just,
Christ.
He unloaded. So, and
did you ever find out what happened?
I didn't, and I'm desperate to know. I'm fucking desperate to know. I wasn't, at the time, I just wanted to tell herself, going, because I'm not really into relationships and all the rest of it, relationship stories or drama or these things, like I said. But at the same time, this fellow was so hilarious in his dryness. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was so dry. Like there was no, somebody was telling you, I don't know what to tell you this. And there'd be at least emotion in your voice. There was no emotion in this guy's voice as he was talking to me. The whole time he was like, I am heartbroken. Like it was...
Just a single. They don't really show so much emotion over there on the outside, but I think when you get down to the meat and bones of it, they're juicy enough old characters, when you get them on a session.
This fella had been bottling this up for a long time, and I was the only man he would spend, I suppose, time with in a confined space for more than 5 minutes.
Was there any tears shed onto the Ferrari steering wheel?
No, he did not break. Emotions-wise, he didn't fucking break, but he did unload his heart. So I was telling him, look, you're going to have to come clean with the wife. Because he was going on holidays with the wife, and he was renting you. He was snaking you on over as well, and he was after getting her a hotel room down the road. I said, "How do you think that's going to fucking work, you clown?" I said, "You're taking your kids and wife over on holidays, and you're going to nip out. How often can you pop out for a packet of fags, and be gone for an hour?" So you say I break up with wife. I said, "Well, I'm not telling you to break up with your wife, man."
So he was trying to put it on you, was he?
He fucking was the cunt. That was the thing. He was trying to put it on me, but at the same time, I was like, "Oh man, I can't deal with this at all." But it was highly. It was, at the time, I was thinking this isn't entertaining. I don't want to be in this situation at all. But what it does is it makes a great story afterwards to tell someone.
Yeah. Fuck's sake, that's crazy. Maybe he was so stressed out about the situation that he thought, right, I'll rent a Ferrari for the day. The wife won't think anything of that. And then I go and I'll spill the beans to whoever's driving the Ferrari with me. Yeah.
Imagine that being your thought process of the day. This looks like perfect place, I can tell men. Over manly situation, i.e. V8 engine, we can talk to each other about their emotions. I felt then I had to reciprocate. I was like, well, he goes, are you happily married? I am. I nearly felt guilty about being happily married. I nearly wanted a fucking story to tell him.
I'd love to know what that lad's up to now. I'd love to see what the fucking story is. Polish people, they're lunatics. I met one there not long ago, myself and Tom from the Hardy Books. We were sitting outside a pub having a pint, and this Polish lad walked past, and it was probably 5 o'clock in the day, and it was a fairly sunny day. He was like, fuck, he was steamed out of it, and he goes, hey guys, I do live stream. And he showed me, he goes, you guys, what do you do? And then he goes, and he added us on Facebook. He could pretty much let me add you on Facebook. Just adding, I don't know why, but he was adamant that we'd add him on Facebook. So we added him, and then he headed off. And just for the crack, we said we'd look down through his Facebook page. He had the craziest shit going where he'd have a table set up and he'd have a bottle of vodka and loads of dumplings and stuff like that. And he'd do live streams and he'd just scull the vodka, eat the dumplings and start talking about his ex-wife. And, he'd be smoking cigarettes. He might smoke a 20 box of cigarettes over the course of 30 minutes. But he was an absolute lunatic.
What are the chances that it's the same bloke?
It could very well be, actually, because when you said it, I was like, imagine that was the same bloke. Just some lunatic going through life fucking like an old tornado. The
good news, anyway, we have a stream of good news. Moving on to our final subject of the day, and it is the McDonald's are opening back up. Are you a fan of McDonald's? 6 of them are opening in Dublin. I don't know what the rest of the country is going to be like. Apparently 15 of them, 15 Supermacs have opened up around the country. So they ever debate on McDonald's or Supermacs in a pinch.
Do you know, I have a bit of nostalgia towards Supermacs because the time I used to live in Galway, myself and Tom used to go in there and get chicken boxes the whole time. And we'd go in there and be like, this is healthy, isn't it? And it'd be all greasy and our fingers would be covered and we'd be just swimming in grease. You could just, I don't know, it was just fucking very greasy stuff, but we used to love it. So I've got a place in my heart for burgers and chicken boxes from Supermacs. The thing about McDonald's, it's a bit like having sex with a prostitute. It's great, but it'll do damage to your mind. But no, but I'd say McDonald's it's nice, but not too often. Maybe once every few months is all right. But I'm more of a fan of the likes of Wow Burger or Five Guys, but I just can't stick those names of those places. I think I'd take a Supermacs burger over anything else.
Do you know, it hadn't even dawned on me, but I'm glad you brought up Five Guys, because five fucking bluffers. I got into an awful row on Twitter one time with people I know. And I think people get swept up in the whole notion of a thing because it's on American telly. You know, it's an American, and they go, well, you know, it's this, that, and you're going, call a spade, lads. You get a better burger down the fucking Roma in this main street. Like, you know, in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And I went into that Five Guys one time in Dundrum. Myself and ourselves were in there, and it was, you know, because we'd heard it was a good spot. We said, great things. Already I was annoyed by the name, you know, Five Guys. Like, go away and fuck yourself, you know.
Come up with a better name than that. That's a bit lazy. Five Guys. Just call it like Four Grannies. You know, like, I mean, that even at least that'd be a bit of crack. You'd be like, what's going on here?
But yeah, I don't want to see the thought of Five Guys. Like any other time I read Five Guys, it's normally standing around in a fucking circle jerk. You know, there's something going on that I don't want to associate Five Guys with my food. If you get where I'm going with this, like, and it's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Bukkake's fucking heaven, like, you know.
I never thought that before about Five Guys, to be honest. But now you put that into my head, I can never go in there and definitely never get mayonnaise in there.
We have ruined their business in Ireland now as a result. But we went in and it was fucking this squashed down fucking burger, like a fella was angry that fucking put it together. And the cheese was an old easy single inside in it. Not cheese at all. It's only an old fucking easy single inside the thing. And I take mate seriously. Like, and the mate was middle of the fucking road at best. It was grand. But next day I was hit for about fucking, the bill for the two of us to get an old burger and chip and an old drink was something like $34 or $32 or something. It was something astronomical. And you're sitting on an old bench the same as any chipper in the fucking world you've ever gone into. There's only an old bench is all you're sitting on. Nobody served me, nobody, you know. You're like, these are restaurant prices in a fucking chipper. So I put it up about it, and people go, the cheese has to be that cheese because it won't melt. I'm like, would you go away and fuck off? The best of burger joints can have the best. You know, it was just this row I had about the whole thing. But I'm between two roads when it comes to Supermacs, because I've gone into Supermacs a few times and you're shouting at the burger to give you a bit of taste. You're like, come on to fuck, will you?
Yeah.
So, and this is me by myself driving on the motorways, but I do have a kind of a joy for Supermacs on petrol stations, especially the one outside Galway heading for Dublin, because I think that's number 2, number 1 favourite petrol station in the country.
It's a good one.
The staff are glorious inside there. There's always a lovely woman called Marion. She asks you how your day was. You're like, you don't have to. This is 10 to 11 on a fucking Tuesday. You don't have to be asking me these questions at all, but you're just lovely. So it kind of, again, it's a nostalgia thing. And Air Square Galway, we've had some fucking fair sessions inside there. Like,
stop! And so many memories that I can't remember in there. And there's always one owl lad who's got a fairly big belly. He looks like he's just out of the bog, and he's eating a burger with pure guilt in his eyes, going, "I only came in for the one." But like, he looks like he's either just back from the bog, or else after a 4-day session, because he's wearing a shirt that's kind of half hanging out, and he's swallowing a burger. He's not even eating it; he's just swallowing it.
Did you ever see that lad that went apeshit a couple of years ago after Mayo lost the All-Ireland final? He ran on and went,
yes.
Please tell me you know him. Yeah,
well, I've met him once before in a pub, because I was like, is that man? And then I went over to him, he goes, that is me, yeah. And then that was kind of it. But I think the Viper had him in actually no, the Viper did have him in a sketch before. We did a sketch before for, I think it was Staunton Sports, but we couldn't use a sketch in the finish anyways. But he's kind of like a local legend in some ways.
As I remember seeing videos later on that night when they all obviously got back to fucking Galway/Mayo, and it was like Conor McGregor had walked in. Oh my lord, they were chanting for this legend, the green and red of Mayo. Saw doctors were fucking absolutely blasting out of the place. Like,
lads were flying back in from Australia just to see him.
Aren't the Saw doctors crafty fuckers, by? They've written a song for every fucking Connacht county. Do you know what I mean?
They
like,
fucking have. They've bastards. You know what? And you got to give them kudos on that one.
That's how you fucking do it. You know what I mean? Because you know the GA crowd will be up your hole. Following the GA crowd. Maybe we need to go after GA crowd some which way. I don't know.
Tom, what the fuck is a Saw doctor?
I can only imagine it was based. I got told this once when I asked this very same question, and I think it's from oldie worldly times. I could be totally wrong now, but I think it's from old, like we're talking the 1800s, when a leg would come off with a fucking saw. I think it's as basic as that. I think. I don't think it's a man that mends your fucking saw, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah. No, I was wondering because it's a funny old peculiar name to pick, but I'll have to look into that one a bit more now. But yeah, no, in fairness, the Saw Doctors, they're cute bastards, and they have. I don't know if they've got other songs, but they've got that song from Mayo that is very popular, and people go mental when they hear, especially at football games.
Well, don't they have Joyce Country Cayley Band?
Yes, yeah.
Sure, that covers another
Joyce Country Cayley Band.
And sure, that's
drinking pints and we're doing grand.
So that's them. That's Sligo covered. Then, like,
yeah,
you know,
nice few pound to be got in Sligo.
I bet you any money they have one for Roscommon as well. Bet you any money.
Oh, Roscommon lads are great. Something like that. No?
Fuck it. If they don't have one on, we're writing one. I swear to God,
we should write one for every county. Yeah.
Right.
People like when you mention their town names.
That's it. We write one for every county. How's that?
Let's, for the next podcast, have a bit of a jingle for one county. Maybe people can pick a county and we'll go off and do a jingle each for it.
Yes. Oh, that'll be it. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Right, I'm writing that down.
We'll do it like a Shano song.
So,
common lads drinking pints on a Tuesday. Yeah. Something like that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not that, but
I mean, Roscommon is a tough enough one to rhyme anything with, like. But then again, I mean, yeah, even with Mayo, they never once made reference to the fact that, you know, they possibly could, you know, Hellmans were from Mayo, you know. Never once made reference. They just talked about the green and red of Mayo. That's a soft touch. You could just say the blue and gold of Roscommon. If you say Roscommon really quickly. Roscommon. I've noticed Roscommon people do say it very quickly. They go, Roscommon. You know, there's almost no O there at all.
They're a wild old bunch as well there in Roscommon.
I'm going to just swing over a couple of questions. I threw this out yesterday. I just picked three. So Sharon, Sharon's a long-time listener. So I'll just throw this over.
How are we doing, Sharon?
Sharon, so what you reckon? What is your ID perfect topping, condiments, favourite fast food burger? So we haven't really decided. Do you have a favourite one, like a local chipper, or we'll put it between the two, McDonald's, Supermax? I think you're going Supermax, are you? I'm going with Supermax
100%, yeah.
Yeah, I fucking, and being Irish, I do like their chicken. Do you know they have a grilled chicken burger thing? I like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's tasty now. Even the idea of that now is making me hungry.
And this is where I sometimes feel, am I being a bit fancy, Dan, because I live up here or whatever? Because but I'm fucking not. But I do feel it every so often. I was inside in a place in Laois, off the motorway in Laois, and I said, can I get the grilled chicken? She went, Jesus, because that was her response. You want working in Supermax? She went, Jesus. Right? I went, oh, fuck, I feel like a prick for not ordering a dinner box or something like that. And she says, after she says, Jesus, she went, I suppose you'll want a sauce on it, will you? I went, Jesus, that'd be nice. Yeah. She goes, which one do you want? I says, I'll have the chipotle. And she grilled it. She growled at me. She went, chipotle? I went, chipotle. She went, no, it's chipotle. I went, well, Grand, I'll have some chipotle. She goes, we don't have any chipotle.
Oh, Christ above.
So sure, put on whatever you want on it. It's just all right. Sorry, go on. What were you saying?
That chipotle or chipotle, whatever you call it, that's nice stuff. I don't know where that came out of. I think it could be Mexico or somewhere like that. But that's lovely stuff. I've been trying to experiment. I like putting on new stuff on burgers that I don't like, but making myself like it. I'm putting, like mustard, even a small bit of mustard, really strong mustard as well. I don't really like it, but I'm kind of. The more I have of it, the more I'm like, Do you know what? That's not bad. No, it's not bad at all, no.
Oh, I tell you, mustard goes with beef. That's the key. Mustard, regardless, will always go with beef. But you know what? Go bring yourself in at entry level, Owen. The next time you're inside the shop, get yourself some of the American mustard. It's not half as hot, and it's nice entry level stuff. The French's mustard, and that'll get you going now.
Oh, the Dijon mustard will get you going, but the American mustard is like arcade mustard. It's handy. It's the handy old learning curve to it.
Also, there's another one in Aldi, right? Oh, Jesus, man. And it's hamburger. It's hamburger mustard is what it's called.
Ooh,
and
nice.
it basically makes it taste like you got it out of a high-end burger joint, this stuff. So another nice one to try as a condiment or a topping on the thing is, you'll see them, and they're in all the shops now. They're fried onions. You know, the crispy onions. Have you had the crispy onions?
Yes, I have, yeah. Wow Burger now, in fairness to them, they throw on the crispy onions, and that's very nice. That's a new twist that I never would have thought of before. Yeah,
it is a good one. There's I don't complicate it too much now, in all fairness, but I think if you're going that way, mustard, I think, I'm a mustard, ketchup, couple of the old pickles. Are you a pickle man?
I am. And I used to hate them too back in the day, because I know McDonald's burgers used to always put a slice of pickle in there, and I'd take it out and I'd throw it into the bin with just sheer disgust. But now I eat it because I'm like, there's an extra 5 cents there now that I'm going to eat.
This is the most, I suppose, Polish relatable podcast I'd say that has gone on. The father works with a load of Polish lads, so he's adopted a lot of their eating habits and stuff like that. Because you'd get on with my old lad now. He's all about the fucking douche and the fucking hard meta Europe, like, you know. But he's big style the last maybe 15 years. He loves an old fucking pickled fucking radish and this old stuff that the boys be eating, you know. He'd be fucking big into it, fucking kimchi, and he got me into the pickles. I was the very same as you. I'd catch that thing and I'd fuck it out the door, that pickle. Since then I've gotten big into it. If entry level, for anybody who's wondering, if you're going, I'm not a pickle man, what you do is get a jar of them inside in the Aldi or whatever, and don't slice it, chop it into little bits, and only sprinkle a couple of them on top of it to get you in. Don't go straight in, both boots in on top of the fucking pickle parade. You'll only lose the run of yourself. Yeah. So I think that answers Sharon's old question anyway, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And I will say as well, another thing, my father puts a bit of brown sauce onto a lot of the meat he does eat, so that's not a bad old twist. But now he puts on a good bit. I'm not really at that level too, but he's a great man for the old condiments. He'll throw anything that's in the press, he'll throw it on. He's just trying to get the best out of it, you know?
Yes, I can't wait till this lockdown is done, and I'll bring you up here for a fucking feed, lad. I'm not joking.
Oh, I'd love it. Yeah. We'll do one up there.
This is a shout out because the lad knows. It's I think it's Kieran is your man's name. Yeah, it's Kieran. I ramble a lot about this man. I went to school with him, and he has one of the best butchers in the country. So that's just shout out to Brendan Healy's Galty Burger.
Brendan Healy's Galty Burger. Sounds like a tasty place, Brendan. We'll be into you very soon, mate.
I tell you, he's some man. I did a barbecue for the Galway Comedy Festival there one time, and by Jesus Christ, do you know when a fella, you go, how is that fella's doing? He's flying it. How's he doing so well? Because this cunt will work 27 hours in a 24-hour day. You know, that kind of way. He sorted me out with mate and had it all boxed up and sent to me. Like, it was the most professional outfit, and this fella's a one-man band by. And I'm telling you, just all his mate is sourced within a 5-mile radius.
Big shout out to him. Have you been into him? We'll have to go into him once this is all done and dusted. We'll call into him for our Galty Burger.
He's the only man that I would fully trust with making burgers and making. He get you anything. Like, I went into him one day because you can't get a good brisket anywhere, and I says, "Can you get me a brisket?" He says, "Get you a fucking brisket. Follow me." And out the back he went, and there was a fucking half a side of cow hanging up. And he brought her up to the saw and he cut me off the fucking brisket. He says, "Now work away with that." It was a lovely touch. Yeah. So we've one final question in from Derek. Derek, I'll throw it over to you there. And I'd say you know this place better than I do.
Best burgers are in Salt and Pepper in Salt Hill, Galway. That's the spot out there by the old casino. And I've often been out there playing the old gambling machines. And I lost plenty of money over the years out there, Tom. But they do lovely burgers out there in Salt and Pepper, I must say that. You know that kind of arcade place where you can do the punching machine and you can play that hockey game, you know, that old hockey game that's kind of shite, but you always play it when you're close to a beach for some reason. Yeah. Well, out that way, that's where it is, Salt and Pepper. Lovely burgers, delicious. Galway, in fairness to Galway, there's a lot of good spots there now with good food. Yeah,
seasidey places tend to have, like Cork is very good for the grub as well, but you know, there's no excuse for having bad food in Ireland.
It's unbelievable now. In fairness, the standard of the last 10 minutes, the standard of the last 10 years has gone up something awful in Ireland in a good way. The food in Dublin, there's so many good spots, so many good burger places. The burgers, even in Mayo, there's a lot of nice spots popping up now, a lot of like nice burger joints in Castlebar and Ballina.
As people venture further afield too, they come back with, here, fuck it.
Notions.
We're doing it all. Well, notions are bad and good in some ways, like. But if a fella turns back up to the local town that he grew up in after living in maybe New Orleans for a year or something, come back going, lads, I'm opening a burger joint. We're doing it fucking wrong our whole lives. And he creates these unbelievable burgers. Then fucking notions away. You know what I mean?
Power to him.
Notions 11.
You can always put a spin on something too. Like, you know, Nando's is just chicken, but they have their own spin on it too now. But that's nice grub as well, actually, in fairness to them.
Yeah, I got ticked going into Nando's one day. It was only after opening, and I went in with ourselves, and the next thing we're up at the counter. And it was as a result of, and I'll tell you another day about my bad. I'll actually write that down. You'll enjoy this story because it's me getting very angry in public. You'll like it. And
maybe the next podcast should be angry anger stories.
Yeah, but he basically, I walked in this. Do you know that generic looking English fella? You know, maybe 8 stone, fucking standing behind the counter, and he's got an ironic tattoo on his arm. You know, of a band. Just an actual black band around his arm, and he's standing going, "Hi guys, so do you know how it works?" And he said it in such a patronising way. Do you know how it works here in Nando's?
Oh God!
And that was it. Put the hitch back on the fucking Jeep and backed her out the fucking gate by herself.
You didn't need to stay for food, no?
Did I fuck? Herself just shot your man a look and then after looking at me and went, "It's not happening."
Christ.
That's why I married the woman. She knew full well what, you know, she knows.
She knows what she's getting.
I can't deal with that, man. Just, I give you money, you give me food. How does that work? I've been, you know, you're going to follow me to the toilet and ask me how I know how to wipe my hole as well, are you? For fuck's sake, what a question to ask.
That's why Supermax is the best, Tom, because you know what you're getting when you go in the door. You're getting a solid old style Irish burger, bag of chips that are the big old chunky, the size of your fingers, and you leave the place swelled.
To stick a fork in the end of the episode, that's a great way of ending. So Supermax has won out. Pat fucking McDonough has won out already. So Harden Up Podcast next week will be sponsored by Supermax going forward.
Yeah. Give us a call.
And Papa John's. We'll fucking do it. No bother.
We'll basically do anything for money.
That's the absolute truth of it. Right. That has been episode 8. Please hit subscribe if you haven't through the whole lot of this, because we'll be in your ear holes. You know, we're getting fairly regular at this stage. But the most important thing, Owen, if they're listening on Apple Podcasts, give it the 5 stars, because Owen will be around. Douche, fucking.
In the window, because I know we've got to keep the distance, but like, just douche. In the bloody window if I have to. Give us the 5 stars, lads. We deserve it.
Owen, it's been delicious. Till the next one.
Take care of yourself.